playing on the guitar.
Actually, it's not my guitar.
Well, he's borrowing my guitar.
Yeah, God is good.
God is good. Okay. Well, it's 11 o'clock. Let's do a thing. Let's get started here. What do you say? Yes. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I'd like to hear that. Good morning. You know, we say welcome to Woodland Chapel because this is such an original name that we love. It's been with us forever. But we are truly a center for spiritual living. And spiritual living covers a whole broad range of goodness. So we hope you feel that goodness this morning. Now, you know what? Every first of the month we try to say, who's got a birthday? You know, because birthdays come every month. Is there anyone here who has a birthday right now? Coming up? Up right here, the guitar player. Well, let's sing happy birthday. What do you say right now? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, God bless you. Happy birthday to you. Yeah. Did everybody get voted yet? If you haven't, go out and do it. Vote America. Yeah. Look at that. Look at that American woman right there. Mm-hmm. Power woman right there. Yeah. Uh-huh. Got it. Okay, so before we get into our musical, wonderful musical beginning, we call it our congregational song. I just want to say this. You're so welcome here, everyone, regardless of what path or any spiritual understanding or belief that you have or have not. It matters not to us because we know that every path leads to a wonderfulness. If you're on a spiritual path, you just follow it until you find what you're looking for, or step over onto the other path and try another path. But anyhow, it's really wonderful. You came on the right day. Today is potluck day, so you know what to do. Before we get started on the song, we want to do a couple announcements too. We want to, well, you know, I think this one announcement here. We were going to have a workshop that was coming up, but you're going to be notified of a rescheduling on that. That's not going to be coming up after all when it's supposed to this next Sunday, or this Sunday. But we do have a Faces of Gratitude workshop we want you to know about. The Faces of Gratitude are going to be presented by our practitioner, Cheryl Ostrander. Mm-hmm. She did the meditation this morning. If you were here, wasn't that a good one? You know, I loved it. Years, yes. Gratitude wears many faces, she says. We have a Next Soup for the Soul fundraiser that comes up. It comes up every third Sunday, and it'll be here again on the third Sunday. So we'd like you to join the book study group if you feel like you, not grub, group, okay, group, okay, from 2 o'clock to 3:30, I think it is, on Friday afternoons. Kathy Daniels is the one to talk to if you want good information on that. Want to join. Child care is available if you have somebody you know has a child and says, I can't come as they don't have, well, we take care of the children. Don't worry about that. I think we ought to sing our song right now. What do you say? Let's do that. Let's all stand and do that. It's in the program. It's a good one. Oh, ho, ho.
Sorry, I can't stand with you. I don't have a strap today. If you don't know the words, I'm going to say them out loud. I got up this morning singing, God is so good. I got up this morning singing, God is so good. I got up this morning singing, God is so good. My God is so good to me. I'm feeling good down in my soul. God is so good. Feeling good down in my soul. God is so good. Feeling good down in my soul. God is so good. My God is so good to me. Well, in my time of trouble, singing, God is so good. In my time of trouble, singing, God is so good. In my time of trouble, singing, God is so good. My God is so good to me. Well, in my time of triumph, singing, God is so good. In my time of triumph, singing, God is so good. In my time of triumph, singing, God is so good. My God is so good to me. Well, in my days over, singing, God is so good. When my day is over, singing, God is so good. When my day is over, singing, God is so good. My God is so good to me. Oh, every day, every way, God is so good. Every day, every way, God is so good. Well, every day, every way, God is so good. My God is so good to me. I got up this morning. Well, I got up this morning singing, God is so good. I got up this morning singing, God is so good. Oh yeah, well, I got up this morning singing, God is so good. My God is so good. My God is so good. My God is so good to me. Oh yeah. Oh, I think we're gonna do some church now. Oh, but wait, there's one more. Okay, that's one kind of church. Here's another kind. This is called meditative state. Why have you come to earth? Do you remember? Why have you taken birth? Why have you come to love, serve, and remember? To love, serve, and remember. Why have you come to earth? Do you remember? Why have you taken birth? Why have you come
Good morning. I'd invite you to join me as I turn within. As I turn within and acknowledge and appreciate and embrace the one power in the universe, the power that's known by many names: Spirit, Higher Power, God, Mother, Father, God, whatever you choose to call that energy that flows through you, that flows through me, that energizes and empowers each of us to do what it is that we've come here to do on this plane. The power that knows the truth for each of us. I've heard it said, knows the number of hairs on each head, the blades of grass. Spirit knows all. Spirit has brought us here together to join in fellowship, to enjoy what it is to enjoy in life, to embrace the moments in time, each perfect moment in full unfolding as it should be. I know that Spirit is moving through this service right here and right now. Blaine's music is empowering us and it's uplifting us to know. Reverend Moore's message is coming to us individually. I invite you to open your heart to this, because I know it to be true. We are here for good. We are here for God. I know this service is blessed in all of its elements and all of its moments. I'm grateful to be a part of it. I'm grateful to stand here and see all of your wonderful faces. They make me smile. And with gratitude in my heart, I release this prayer into the law, knowing it is done as spoken, and through grace so much more. And I invite you to join me in saying, and so it is. And we have an affirmation. It's in your program under group affirmation. Please join me. As I open my heart to the power of prayer, I am transformed. I allow goodness to flow into all areas of my life, and so it is.
Like the winds of the sea are the ways of fate. As we voyage along through life, 'tis the will of the soul that decides its goal, and not the calm or the strife. That is a verse by poet Ella Wheeler Wilcox. She is famous, by the way, for the poem Solitude, which has that famous phrase, laugh and the world laughs with you, weep and you weep alone. She was born in 1880. Our message today, our daily guide reading, is from the Science of Mind, page 52, October 19. The month of October in the daily guides was devoted to the writings and inspiration by Ernest Holmes, Dr. Ernest Holmes. So this particular excerpt from Dr. Holmes is from the work called Spiritual Awareness. It is of no use to meditate for 10 minutes and say, I am surrounded by prosperity, Everything I do shall prosper. And then for the rest of the day, think that nothing is good. Nobody does that. Effective meditation or prayer is the moment when we focus our thinking and fully accept the answer to our desire. The mold of acceptance is the measure of our experience. The infinite fills all molds and forever flows into new and greater ones. Within us is the unborn possibility of limitless experience. Ours is the privilege of giving birth to it. Acceptance is a mental and spiritual act. The mind accepting its highest hope in complete confidence, placing its entire reliance on a power greater than itself. So the editor of Science of Mind magazine goes on to say, spiritual practice takes, practice. The usual reason we abandon our affirmative statements is that we have not believed in them in the first place. Surrounded by prosperity may seem a stretch if we feel we haven't ever been that prosperous and don't know anyone else who has. In such a case, we should affirm that we can buy into, and maybe just a bit beyond that, as an energizing uphill climb. Each successive meditation time can then build on the previous, so we avoid tumbling back into a hopeless submission to things as they are. The mold of acceptance is the size of container we each bring to draw from the infinite. The measure of our experience is our takeaway. We're learning to place our reliance on something greater than our thoughts, yet each thought brings us closer to home. And the daily guide ends with this affirmation. I have confidence, complete confidence, in the Spirit and its action in my experience. Thank you.
So there's a term called surrender. There's a term called letting go, letting God. And this is a song about, I want to be like water. Well, I've made my share of struggles. When I thought that I knew best, I've sailed into the storm, never stopping to rest. And it always seemed the hardest when I made up my stubborn mind. Well, I'm changing my ways this time. I want to be like water coming down a mountainside into shadowy canyons flowing from pool to stream. I want to be like water headed uphill no more. I am bound to the sea. Have you ever seen an eagle head straight into the wind? He does not pick a fight, spreads his wings and just gives in. And in the end he always makes it home just fine. I guess he knows every storm subsides. I want to be like water headed down a mountainside into shadowy canyons flowing from pool to stream. I want to be like water headed uphill no more. I am bound to the sea. I think I'll let nature take its course. No more thinking that I know where this river is supposed to go. I I have railed against the stars for the cards that I've been dealt, for the lottery I never won, for the heartache I felt. But it always seems when I let go of expectation and regret, life has plenty of surprises for me yet. I want to be like water rolling down a mountainside into shadowy canyons flowing from pool to stream. I want to be like water headed uphill no more. I am bound to the sea. I am bound for the sea. I am part of the sea.
Boy, it's my pleasure now to introduce our senior minister, Reverend Maur Horton. Great. Silence those phones.
Nope, silence phone. Wow, I just want to recognize, acknowledge, and say thank you to our musician Blaine, and to Cheryl, and to Dawn, and to Aaron, and everyone who's helped make this possible this morning. Let's give Maur a little hand, just to show that we don't really appreciate it. Not getting a signal, he says. Oh dear. Oh, you'll have to just. Seems like the batteries are no good. Oh dear. Well, let's see. You can hear me back there? Well, do you think I don't need one of these? I'm so used to using a microphone. This doesn't seem to be working. There. There's one. There's another. You know, life is kind of interesting because it always presents us with new opportunities. Who would have thought that I'd be placing batteries in a device in the pulpit? Let's see if this works. Do we have a signal now? Yes. All right, that's wonderful. Hey, see? if you just have faith, just have faith. Oh, well, this morning's message is really a continuation of our message that we brought to you last week. Last week we talked about the power of the mind and how the mind can be used to not only improve ourselves, but also to improve the world. Get out there and do things like vote and be part of the society and bring good things into being. Today we'd like to concentrate on the power of mind through prayer to bring change in your own life, to bring about that which is new and different and better expresses the essence of who you are and what you want to be and do in this life. This really is the topic this morning was brought about during a meeting of our ministry team where we decided that it's really important to focus on the fundamentals of the science of mind. And one of the fundamentals of the science of mind is understanding the subconscious mind. Do you feel you've really got a grasp of that one? I don't know. It's kind of interesting because it's part of the mind that we don't perceive most of the time. Yet it does truly exist. Now, we're all familiar with the conscious mind. Let's say, I'll give an example. Last Friday, Andy, my son, and I and Vicki prepared dinner for 7 people at our home. And we decided to go out to Easy Orchards and buy acorns and apples and good stuff to serve. So got them home, split the acorn, cooked up the ingredients, put them in there, baked first the acorn, then bake the stuff, put the cheese on, all that sort of thing. Well, that is definitely an activity of conscious mind. We've decided on a plan, we did it, we executed, and it turned out really well. We had a dozen halves and only one was left over for 7 people. Not bad. Anyway, now, what about the subconscious mind? What does that look and feel like. One example that's come to my mind is this. Have you ever driven your car down your neighborhood street and had a ball roll out in front of you? What happens? Bam! You put on the brakes, don't you? You might look in your rearview mirror to see if you're going to get rear-ended or not, but you're going to stop. Well, that is a function that comes automatically to you. It comes out of what we call sometimes the fast mind, the one that just reacts, as opposed to the slow mind, which deliberates and meditates, considers, and contemplates, as well as leading to action. Now, the subconscious mind is a powerful tool. It's a storehouse of memory. It's a storehouse of learned behavior. I mean, has anybody here not learned how to drive? I think most all of us have. So we've been trained. We trained our minds to have certain reactions ready in case the unexpected happens. And maybe we save a life by reacting that way. But this subconscious mind is a subjective mind. It's subjected to the conscious mind because it can be programmed. And we do a lot of that programming through training, through classes, through learning new skills, all kinds of things. Now, the principle of the unconscious mind is brought to us this month in a series taken from Raymond Charles Barker's book called Treat Yourself to Life. Raymond Charles Barker, I'll give you a little introduction. Oh, and our theme this morning is treat yourself to wealth and happiness. I like that. That's the first two chapters. Yeah, I kind of like wealth. I kind of enjoy happiness. So I'm happy to talk about both. There's something in there. Anyway, Raymond Charles Barker was a very popular New Thought lecturer and regularly filled Alice Tully Hall in Lincoln Center on Sunday mornings in New York City. Alice Tully Hall holds about 1,000 people. So he was speaking to a great number of people. Raymond started his ministry as a unity minister, actually, but he met Ernest Holmes, and Ernest convinced him to be, Ernest, our founder, convinced him to join religious science, which is what our teaching was called at that time. Now it's Centers for Spiritual Living. And he invited Raymond Charles Barker to start a new work in the city of New York. And that was quite a doing. It was very successful. Now, I actually heard Raymond Charles Barker speak at our center in an evening meeting here that was hosted by Reverend Tony Monacoso, then our minister. Now, I was thinking, enough about Raymond. I was thinking, I always like to look to ancient wisdom to see what might be said about the power of the mind, and particularly through prayer. But I found this quote from that is attributed to the Buddha. The mind is everything. What you think, you become. Sounds like change your thinking, change your life. Buddha had a real solid understanding of the power of the mind, serenity, detachment, and all. The writer of Proverbs, too, made this remark. For as he, a man, thinks in his heart, so is he. I think it applies to women, too, or to anyone, any person. For as a person thinks in the heart, so they are. Jesus summarizes the law, the whole law, the Torah, first 5 books of the Bible, into one crisp quotation. You know it. I quote it often. You've heard it many times from the pulpit. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. Oh, love your neighbor as yourself. So the power of mind is brought again. And Paul, of course, got in, made a comment, and talking to the people at Thessalonica, pray without ceasing. So always keep that power of awareness of the presence of the infinite in your mind. The lesson here, I think, is to focus our thoughts on what you're trying to create, not what could go wrong in your life. Monitor your thoughts so you can become aware of them on a regular basis. The more beautiful, happy, and positive thoughts you have, the more they will reflect in your outer world. I came across a little story that I thought was kind of funny. Maybe you'll enjoy it too. It's spoken of in the first person. It says, "My name is Claire. I sat in the waiting room for my first appointment with a new dentist. I noticed a degree on the wall which bore his full name. Suddenly, I remembered a tall, handsome, dark-haired boy with the same name that had been in my high school some more than 25 years ago. Could he be the same guy that I had a secret crush on way back then? Upon seeing him, however, I quickly discarded any such thought. This balding, gray-haired man with a deep-lined face was way too old to have been my classmate. My goodness. After he examined my teeth, I asked him if he had attended the same school as me. Yes, I did, he gleamed with pride. When did you graduate? I asked. Oh, I answered, in 1987. Why do you ask? Why, you were in my class, she exclaimed. He looked at me closely. Then that bald, wrinkled face, gray-haired, kind of decrepit-looking old fellow asked, what subject did you teach? I got a kick out of it, too. Sometimes it's how you approach a subject that makes a real difference. In Raymond Charles Barker approaches treating yourself to life with a subtitle, How to Make Your Subconscious Work for You. Now, he starts this off, the whole book, by asking a question. Will I ever be happy again? He says, this is a cry that comes from the hearts of thousands. He recounts his experience with Elizabeth Andrews. I like authors that have stories in their books, and he's got lots of stories in his book. He received a phone call one day, and Elizabeth wanted him to come to a prestigious New York hospital where she was being treated. When he came in, she was in her bed, and she looked up and she said, Dr. Barker, I've just been told by the doctors that I have Paget's disease. It's a malignant disease, and they tell me that I'll never walk again without a huge cast or brace on my leg and crutches. Do I have to accept that? Now, he knew her and her ability to think and use her power of her mind. He said, no, you don't have to. In fact, I will support you in every step of the way to walk again with grace and ease. Well, 8 months later, she walked into the church. No brace, no crutch, nothing. And she joined in the congregation's acknowledgement that there's a power greater than us that can bring universal healing and love into our lives. Now, you might ask, perhaps you already know what I'm going to say. How did that happen? Well, let me do a quote from the book. I sometimes do that. Keep us honest. Barker explains, and I quote, every day for months, she and I knew certain basic truths together. She in her hospital bed, and I in my home or office. She replaced the verdict of an incurable disease that was in her subconscious with a sure knowledge of a woman walking through life with grace and ease. I'm getting a signal here that I don't want. Why it's doing that, I don't know. Did you hear any of that singing? Oh, good. It was Lady Gaga. I don't know why Lady Gaga got in my talk this morning. Elizabeth Andrews' seemingly miraculous recovery recovery from a malignant disease resulted from a practice of scientific prayer, he says. That's what he called it. Now, these days, we tend to call it spiritual mind treatment or affirmative prayer. Barker, in his book, heralds the arrival of a new way to pray, one that doesn't require begging and beseeching some external power for special help. He is convincing, and he is convinced that people are beginning to realize that the life you have here and now has within itself the creative power for change. Barker explains it this way. Your treatment starts with the premise that God is perfect and God is all. The secondary premise is that you are the operation of this allness, and this allness or goodness operates through you. He recommends to people who read his book that we say to ourselves, I am the completeness and allness of God made visible. Does that feel comfortable? I am the completeness and allness of God made visible. Would you like to say that? I am the completeness and allness of God made visible. Now, this type of treatment, this type of prayer, you see, that's what we're really talking about as a main instrument for influencing our subconscious mind. This form of prayer is all-encompassing. You can apply it in every aspect of life: health, wealth, love, self-expression. It offers the reassurance that there is a power and a method to access that power which will bring positive change into your life. You see, the mind is, well, I just say, the mind is infinite. In our teaching, we believe that there is one mind, this mind of the infinite, and each person's mind is a share or participation in that mind. So on the conscious side of life, the mind is infinite. It can conceive of possibilities that we haven't yet known about. I mean, if you talk to somebody 100 years ago, before Jules Verne wrote his novel about going to the moon, they probably wouldn't have had any idea about space travel, for example. That's something, there'll be new things to come there. But our mind is also infinite on the subconscious side, that it is merged into the consciousness of the whole world. We sometimes call it race consciousness. The importance is that both, there really is one mind, so our conscious mind and our subconscious mind work together to improve our lives. They cooperate with one another. The subconscious or unconscious part of our minds is a creative part of the mind. It's the power, it's like a law that brings about it's like a creative medium that we can use to bring about desired change in our lives. Here at Woodland Chapel, we teach a 5-step prayer method that most everyone here could probably tell me what that is, right? But there may be one or two who don't know. Is there anybody here not familiar with that treatment method? I see one brave lady, raise your hand. Yay! Okay. Well, let's just briefly recount the way we do this prayer work. First of all, we establish a purpose for what we're doing. We may be treating for health or for a new car or for the welfare of our family, or maybe we're treating for peace of mind, for interior strength, for clarity of vision. We can treat for any one purpose. But we always start by recognizing that there is a power, an infinite power and wisdom and intelligence and energy, a life force, so well described by Cheryl Ostrander in her meditation this morning. No matter what name we give it, some call it spirit, energy, God, that is the reality. That is for us in our hearts and awareness. And we also recognize that we are some part of that infinite life and power that simply is the power behind the universe. It manifests itself in all good things. And its life is perfect. Its life is perfect. And we share in its life because its life is our life. That's unification. We recognize it. We unify with it. And then we declare what it is we would like to see changed in our lives. It might be, I like to be more confident when I speak. That could be one, right? It could be that, gee, when I go to the store, I don't want to forget that we really need this thing. It could be little tiny things or great big things. I'd like to see health in my life. I'd like to see prosperity in my life. I'd like to see wealth and goodness. It can be whatever you want. But forming a clear concept and an understanding that there is a power in the universe that makes that happen according to your belief is the power in the treatment. We give thanks. We give thanks for the clarity of our concept and the power of the divine. And then we give thanks and say, I am grateful for all of this, and release it into the universal law, which I call the law of love, which simply says yes. There's a little bit of tidbit that I'm thinking to add in here. Have you ever reviewed the idea of how the subconscious got into common parlance and knowledge? I just did a quick review of it, just for fun. The idea of the unconscious mental processes are actually found in the early Vedas, which date from 2500 BC to 600 BC. The temptations and so forth that come to the mind unbidden. Pericles in 1567 studied and wrote of an unconscious mental process. William James in 1890 wrote his Principles of Psychology, where he reviewed all the literature on unconscious and subconscious as used in the 19th century. Then Freud came along and he made it popular, made it sexy, so to speak. He said that everything in life is a result of sexual feelings and instincts and so on. That became quite well known. You heard about psychoanalytics. And Jung, came along just right in his time and a little bit younger than he was, and expanded the unconscious part of it to include a collective unconscious, a universal unconscious. We call it sometimes race mind. Now, Raymond was very active during the period of, say, 1940s, 50s, 60s, 70s, when these ideas were paramount in culture. He closes his chapter on happiness by urging us to think back to something negative that happened recently. It can be little or small. He says, if your first reaction was to deny the negative and affirm the positive, you are learning how to treat. So you're making progress, right? For example, not too long ago, I was experiencing pain in my body in various places, and it was some, but I asserted, yes, I'm feeling this now. I know I'm feeling it, but it is temporary. In spirit, I know I am well. Repeating the affirmation, I am well, I don't have the pain. So, in concluding his chapter on happiness again, he asserts that you are actually in heaven to the extent you can control your own consciousness, to the extent you can align your consciousness with the infinite power that resides within you. You realize heaven by treating yourself to life here and now. That's kind of a summary of his first chapter. Reverend Barker starts his chapter on wealth with a very simple and direct statement that I enjoy. He says, money is wonderful. What do you think about that? You agree? Would you like to say that? Money is wonderful. Yes. He then goes on to tell the story of Ned Robertson. He likes stories. Remember I told you that. Ned Robertson came into his office. Actually, he was driven into his office by his wife. I don't know about a car, but basically he didn't want to be there. She thought this was going to be a great idea. Okay, so he comes in and he says, I don't know what I'm doing here, and he explains what's going on, and starts complaining about the fact that he has a wife and 3 children, doesn't have enough money, he's got a humdrum job, and he's living in New York City, and it just doesn't doesn't work. It's not working. It's not feeling right. I'm not doing what I want to do. And Ernest asked him a simple question. What do you really, Ernest asked him, I'm sorry, Raymond asked him, what do you really like to do? He thought about that for a while. After a long pause, he said, I like sports fishing. Sports fishing. New York City office. Sports fishing. It doesn't matter. But he accepted that as a possibility, having listened to Raymond's explanation of how all this works, and began to treat with Raymond. And within a very short time, less than a year, he found himself in Florida, owning fishing vessels and loving life and getting rich in the process too. So the power of prayer to change your life is immense. And it's not that there's only one way to pray, but there's a pretty efficient way, which is the one I described to you earlier. Prosperity is a pattern, is what Raymond says. It's a habit. But so is lack. If you are experiencing lack, you can change that habit of the subconscious mind with affirmative prayer. The change may take time, or maybe instant. I've seen that sometimes. People come in, we treat, takes care of the problem. But with continued treatment, with continued spiritual mind treatment, your life will improve impressively. It comes to mind that we have, I think, 5 practitioners in our chapel. Cheryl Ostrander, Cheryl Gass, Donna Stevens, and Ruth tonight, and our emeritus Kathy Prather. Any one of them can be a great source of help to you if you have something that's of a challenge or just something you'd like to share about that would be improved with prayer. And you see, the prayer work can bring you to a sense of individual prosperity. Raymond's definition of prosperity is the ability to do what you want to do when you want to do it. I've heard that before. You ever heard that before? Yeah. The ability to do what you want to do when you want to do it. It's the circulation of life force itself, of life energy in your life, and it really shows up in money and opportunities that just come to you. Here's a brief treatment on prosperity from the chapter on wealth. A little different from what I talked about. I like money. I believe that it is God's activity, that it is good. I use it with wisdom. I release it with joy. I send it forth without fear, for I know that under a divine law, it comes back to me increased and multiplied. Yeah. Now, psychology has come a long way since Raymond Charles Barker wrote his book. In the current Science of Mind, on page 34, Dr. Jim Lockhart writes, our teaching, Science of Mind, is one source of the truth built on the wisdom of the ages and expanded through a modern understanding of psychology. Well, that made me think of a book that we perhaps are all familiar with, The Psychology of Belief, by Bruce Lipton. Have some of you read that or seen it? We got it here. Yeah. He provides scientific proof that supports our ability to change even our deep-seated beliefs. One of the more interesting things he points out, I think, is the emerging science of epigenetics. Are you all familiar with epigenetics? No? Well, it's the science of it's in the field of neuroscience, and it states that changing our thoughts and feelings generates neurotransmitters that can actually go through the whole body, but they can actually determine how our DNA is expressed. It's just like we have DNA in every part of our body, it's the same DNA. We have different cells. So when we change our thinking, and particularly with positive emotional and supportive thinking, or you can go the other way, you manifest change in the body. You've heard of functional MRIs. Heard that before? Yeah, some of us have. Magnetic resonance imaging that's functional allows the observer to see changes in the brain as we're having new thoughts. And they're able to discover, too, that if you develop a new skill, for example, like, anybody ever learned to play the piano? No? Guitar? I know at least one person, but two people to do guitar. Yes. or any other skill. It actually makes changes in the way your brain appears when they look at those MRIs, because it forms new pathways, I guess I'd better say, in the brain. Okay. So these types of scientific evidence for our ability to change based on what we think and feel. You've certainly heard of the book Happy for No Reason, right? Marcia Smirnoff? Yeah, we covered that earlier this year. She suggests, based on positive psychological research, that there are two things that are really important. Gratitude is key to happiness. Finding joy in even the smallest miracles and blessings helps. And number two, focus your efforts on something that brings you joy. That sounds like what Dr. Barker said. Yeah. She says, 2 ways to do it, through memory and taking action. Anybody ever heard of Dave Ramsey? Yeah, most of us have. His is a psychological approach in many ways. He offers practical suggestions for wealth accumulation. I can't say I've tried all of them, but some, and they have helped. Do you know his first principle? Get rid of all debt. All debt. Credit card debt, any other kind of debt, except perhaps for a mortgage on your home. That may be tackled later in your experiences. But he suggests using a very simple approach. So take all your debts, if you have 1, 2, 5, 10, or 20, whatever you got, and put the smallest one on top of your list, and then the next increasing amounts. Concentrate your resources, assuming that you're making enough to live on and have a little bit left. You can then focus on that topmost one, the smallest debt you have, pay it off, and then take that money and apply it to the next debt, the one you're not paying anymore, and so on. And you'll find money in the process. You can continue until all the debt is paid. He says it's a tough road to hoe. It's not easy to do. He doesn't say it is easy, but people who have done it, and there are many illustrations in his book, have done it with great success, and they express that freedom of not having any debt at all to pay. Makes it much easier to live on your income. You don't have to pay debt. Yes. He also suggests a couple little handy things. He says pay everything except scheduled payments, like if you're paying the power company and so forth through your debit system. Pay everything in cash. And the way to do that, he says, is to set up envelopes. Set an envelope for groceries, maybe an envelope for personal care, your haircuts and whatever, or maybe an envelope for school expenses for the kids or the grandkids, that sort of thing. And pay only in cash. He says it's a lot easier to see you're spending money when you set out those Benjamins. Yeah, that's pretty good, that's 100. And then when you just put a card in and say, oh, well, yeah. Perhaps you already live a life with no debt payment. That's wonderful. I like to close with affirmations. So when said with feeling and conviction, they are a way of also programming your subconscious. I'd like you to repeat a couple affirmations with me. Are you good with that? Yes. All right. I am happy to be alive. Money's wonderful. I use it with wisdom. Money is wonderful. I use it. I love myself just the way I am. I am an expression of the goodness of God. I have enough money to spare and to share. I am powerful. I am a channel for Spirit to live in me as me. I am a channel for Spirit to live in me as me. Blessings. That's our message for today. Namaste.
So this is a song, and the video for this song shows a lady singing to children. But I think this song applies to our lives at all times, and it's called, what's it called? I Hope You Dance. Hope you never lose your sense of wonder. Have enough to eat, but always keep that hunger. May you never take one single breath for granted. God forbid love ever leave you empty-handed. I hope you still feel small when you stand beside the ocean. Whenever one door closes, I hope one more opens. Promise me that you'll give faith a fighting chance. And when you get the choice to sit it out or dance, I hope you dance. I hope you dance. I hope you never fear those mountains in the distance. Never take the path of least resistance. Living life means taking chances, but they're worth taking. Love might be a mistake, but it's worth making. Don't you let some angry heart leave you bitter. When you think of giving up, reconsider. Give the heavens above one more than a passing glance. And when you get the choice to sit it out or dance, I hope you dance. I hope you dance. I hope you dance. Oh, I hope you dance. Life is a wheel in constant motion, always rolling us along. Tell me who wants to be wondering where, oh, where that life has gone. I hope you still feel small when you stand beside the ocean. Whenever one door closes, I hope one more opens. Promise me that you'll give faith a fighting chance. And when you get the choice to sit it out or dance, dance. I hope you dance. I hope you dance. I hope you dance. I hope you dance with the sunlight and the sunset. I hope you dance with the moon and stars above. I hope you dance with a smile in a loved one's eyes. I hope you dance with the children in your lives. I hope you dance. I hope you dance. Oh, let's all dance. Why not dance? We can dance. Looking good out there.
Well, we've danced our way to happiness this morning and we get a chance now to express our wealth. Second part of the meeting, and that is by, how would I say? Okay. That is by sharing from our hearts. That's what we really love to give. We've shared our presence this morning, and that's the most important thing there is. We also share in our givingness of money, so that the prosperity of our lives may be circulated and embraced in this chapel. There is an affirmation in your program for the offering, so let's say it together. Divine love moving in and through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God, and so it is.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
We accept the infinite goodness of the universe. We welcome it into our hearts. We welcome it into our bodies, our minds, our feelings. This great, powerful, wonderful, prosperous, wealthy, healthy givingness of the universe is ours, and we share it freely here this morning so that we may indeed walk in faith and in love as a community founded in the presence of God, Spirit, energy. If you agree at all with this, say with me, and so it is. We have a prayer of protection that is printed in your bulletin. If you'd like to stand, we can say that together. Just look at it, it's right in that page. Everybody got it? The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Let's sing together our peace song. Peace certainly is needed in the world.
morning singing, God is so good. I got up this morning singing, God is so good. I got up this morning singing, God is so good. Our God is so good to me. Feeling good down in my soul, God is so good. Feeling good down in my soul, God is so good. Feeling good down in my soul, God is so good. My God is so good to me. When my day is over singing, God is so good. When my day is over singing, God is so good. When my day is over singing, God is so good. My God is so good. My God is so good. My God is so good to me. And the crowd goes wild.